The storm outside had been raging for hours, drumming against the window like a heartbeat that refused to calm. The cafe was nearly empty, except for me and him, the stranger by the window. I noticed him the moment I walked in. He sat alone, his gaze fixed on the rain, one hand around a cup of coffee that had long gone cold. There was something quiet about him, something that drew me in before I could understand why. Maybe it was the way his eyes reflected the city lights, calm but searching, as if waiting for someone he knew would never come. I took the table opposite him, pretending to read the menu, but my heart betrayed me. It skipped a beat when he looked up and caught my eyes. For a second, everything, the noise, the storm, even my doubts, faded. It was just silence, heavy, fragile, and unexplainably familiar. "Rain makes everything slower," he said suddenly, his voice soft but steady. I smiled. "Or maybe it just makes people stay longer." That was how it began. A simple exchange of words that turned into an hour-long conversation. His name was Ethan, a photographer who had been traveling for years, capturing stories of strangers and cities. I told him I was Mira, a writer who'd forgotten how to finish her own stories. We laughed at the coincidence. Two storytellers trapped by a storm, one with pictures, the other with words. The night deepened, and the cafe owner dimmed the lights. I didn't want to leave. Something about Ethan felt safe. The kind of safe that doesn't make you hide but lets you breathe. When the rain finally stopped, he stood up. "Let me walk you home," he said. I hesitated, then nodded. The city shimmered with puddles, the streets smelling of wet pavement and jasmine from nearby gardens. We didn't talk much on the way. Words seemed unnecessary when hearts already understood. Outside my apartment, we stopped under the flickering streetlight. "Maybe," he said with a faint smile, "some stories begin when the storm ends." And just like that, he left. 4 days, I couldn't stop thinking about him. I went back to that cafe every evening, half hoping, half afraid he'd appear. But he didn't. It felt foolish, waiting for a stranger whose story might have already moved on. 3 weeks later, a small envelope arrived at my door. No return name, just my address written in neat handwriting. Inside was a photograph, a black and white picture of me, sitting by the cafe window, smiling at the rain. Below it, a note. "Sometimes you meet people who remind you that life still has stories worth writing. E." I held the photo close to my heart, tears forming at the edge of my eyes, not out of sadness, but gratitude. That night, I opened my laptop for the first time in months, and began to type. The story started with a storm, a cup of coffee, and a stranger by the window. But it wasn't fiction anymore. It was us.